In today's video, we're diving into one of the most electrifying and flat-out surprising storylines to hit Cowboys Nation in a long time, because the moment the news broke that Justin Simmons, yes, that Justin Simmons, the multi-time All-Pro, the quarterback of the secondary, one of the smartest and most instinctive safeties in the entire NFL, had been announced by the Dallas Cowboys, the energy across the fan base instantly shifted from frustration and uncertainty to a kind of controlled chaos. Excitement and pure anticipation that we honestly haven't felt since the Cowboys made the blockbuster trade for Amari Cooper years ago, or when they landed Stephon Gilmore. But this move goes even deeper because we're talking about a player who brings leadership, intelligence, consistency, and elite playmaking in an area the Cowboys desperately needed to stabilize after the departure of Dan Quinn and after a season where the secondary flashed at times but also showed cracks in communication and discipline. And when you insert a veteran like Justin Simmons, the entire dynamic of the defense changes right away, because he's not just a guy who plays his role, he's a guy who elevates everyone around him. And that's exactly what this Cowboys secondary has been missing. Think about it. Last season, the Cowboys lived and died by splash plays, and while Trayvon Diggs' injury was obviously devastating, we still saw the emergence of Darren Bland, who exploded onto the scene with historic pick-six production. But Bland was also asked to do more than what his skill set should reasonably require, sliding outside full-time, handling top-tier receivers, and running a lot of high-stress, high-risk assignments that left him vulnerable when the pass rush didn't hit home or and the safety support behind him wasn't consistent, and that's where a player like Justin Simmons completely changes the picture. Because Simmons isn't just a free safety who plays deep and waits for the ball, he diagnoses plays before they happen, he jumps routes, he disguises coverages, he aggressively communicates checks and adjustments pre-snap, and he gives cornerbacks confidence to sit on routes or take calculated risks knowing that someone behind them actually has the range and instincts to cover their blind spots. And that's something Cowboys fans have been begging for over the past few years as the defense struggle at times with alignment issues, communication breakdowns, and getting caught off guard by motion-heavy offenses. Now imagine a healthy Trayvon Diggs returning to form, paired with Darren Bland sliding back into his more natural role where he can alternate between outside and slot, allowing him to freelance and take advantage of his ridiculous ball skills, while Simmons sits on the back end orchestrating everything like a defensive coordinator in pads. Suddenly the Cowboys go from a defense with potential to a defense with surgical precision. And that is the type of transformation that can totally shift the identity of this team, because it finally gives the Cowboys a defensive leader who complements what Micah Parsons does up front, and Micah, as we all know, thrives when the coverage behind him is airtight. It means he can pin his ears back, attack, disrupt, and force quarterbacks into rush decisions without worrying that a simple breakdown behind him might turn into a 60-yard touchdown. And think about what this does to opposing offensive coordinators. Before, they could test the Cowboys' safeties, especially in the middle of the field, and they often tried to stress the seams or put the linebackers in conflict. But with Justin Simmons patrolling that area, those same shots get a whole lot more dangerous for quarterbacks, and suddenly offenses have to pick their poison. Do they avoid Diggs? Do they avoid Bland? Do they avoid Simmons? Do they risk challenging a defense that now has layers of experience, athleticism, and intelligence working in sync? And this is where the Cowboys quietly change their defensive philosophy without even saying it out loud. Because adding a player like Simmons isn't just about talent, it's about culture and maturity. And Cowboys fans know that one of the biggest criticisms of this team in recent years has been the lack of veteran steadiness in high-pressure moments, especially late in the season when playoff intensity starts to heat up. Simmons brings exactly that. He's calm, he's collected, he's efficient, and he doesn't panic when a play breaks down. Instead, he minimizes damage, and that's what elite defenses do. They don't just make big plays, they erase mistakes. And if you're the Cowboys, who have all the star power in the world but have struggled with consistency, that's exactly what you want, someone who keeps everyone grounded, sharp, and accountable. And that presence isn't just felt on game day, it's felt in the locker room, in the film room, and on the practice field where younger players like Wanya Thomas, Marquise Bell, and even the rookie defensive backs get to see firsthand how an all-pro prepares, how he studies, how he anticipates offensive concepts, and how he positions himself to be in the right place at the right time. That kind of example accelerates development faster than any coach can. But here's where things get really interesting. When you take Simmons' brain, Diggs' swagger, Bland's instincts, and the Cowboys' existing pass rush, you suddenly have a defense that forces turnovers not by chance, but by design. Imagine Dan Quinn's turnover-heavy philosophy now blending with Mike Zimmer's more disciplined, structured, matchup-focused approach. Simmons becomes the bridge between the two. He gives Zimmer a chess piece who understands leverage, spacing, and disguise at the highest level, and Zimmer thrives when he has a veteran safety he can trust because it allows him to unleash more exotic looks, more rotations, more late shifts, and more complexity without the fear of someone blowing an assignment. And when you look ahead at the Cowboys' schedule, especially the NFC slate that includes top quarterbacks and elite offensive minds, this addition becomes even more valuable. Think about facing the Eagles' RPO-heavy scheme with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, or the 49ers' motion-based system, or the Lions' timing-based attack with Amon-Ra St. Brown, or even AFC matchups with elite quarterbacks without a reliable safety. Those games become nightmares. But with Simmons, the Cowboys now have someone who can erase mistakes, break up explosive plays, and force offenses to hold onto the ball longer, giving Micah and the pass rush more opportunities to create chaos. And speaking of chaos, let's talk about the ripple effect. Quarterbacks now have to think twice before throwing deep, receivers have to fight through tighter coverage, coordinators have to abandon parts of their game plan. And the Cowboys' offense benefits too because shorter opponent drives, more turnovers, and fewer explosive plays allowed means Dak Prescott gets more possessions, better field position, and a chance to dictate tempo instead of playing catch-up. This is the type of move that strengthens all three phases of the team. And let's be honest, Cowboys Nation needed this. After a disappointing postseason exit, fans were demanding a response, something bold, something meaningful, something that signals that the organization is serious about making a real run instead of just talking about it every year. Announcing Justin Simmons is that move. It's the kind of move that wakes up the locker room, energizes the coaching staff, and gives fans a reason to believe again. You don't bring in a veteran all-pro unless you're sending a message. This team is going for it. And the timing matters too, because adding someone with Simmons' football IQ right now ensures he gets an entire offseason to learn the scheme, build chemistry, and develop communication with Diggs, Bland, and the rest of the secondary. That matters more than fans realize, because the elite secondaries in the NFL don't just succeed because of talent, they succeed because of communication, trust, and anticipation. And Simmons accelerates that process immediately. And as we look ahead, the Cowboys' defense now has a real identity: fast, physical, smart, turnover-driven, and anchored by veteran leadership. Simmons doesn't just upgrade a position, he changes the entire personality of the defense. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you should feel the shift, because this is the kind of addition that separates regular season hype from actual postseason potential. And as we wrap up this announcement reaction, the only thing left to say is this: the Cowboys didn't just get better, they got smarter, tougher, and more dangerous. Justin Simmons isn't just a signing. He's a statement. And the rest of the NFL better take